Did you know that for Rocky Balboa, the filmmakers used a real fight and audience as a result of trying to find a good location to shoot the fight and being met with constant obstacles as every suitable arena was booked out? Sylvester Stallone knew that HBO had an upcoming event with Bernard Hopkins taking on Jermaine Taylor at the Mandalay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Stallone suggested that the film could piggyback the real event, using the real HBO format, the real crowd, even the real press conference setup. As such, the press conference scene was shot only moments after the real press conference with Hopkins and Taylor, whilst the scene when Rocky walks through the curtain and down to the ring was shot using the real Hopkins, Taylor crowd. Stallone was hoping that the crowd wouldn't boo or cause any problems, but as he made his way to the ring as Rocky, the whole building gave him a standing ovation and began to chant, "Rocky, Rocky." The crowd was never told to stand up or to chant. They had done it completely on their own, and according to the filmmakers, by far the biggest cheer of the night was for Rocky, not for any of the real fighters. Did you know that for Hercules, the role of Hades is one of James Woods' all-time favorite characters? So much so, anytime Disney needs him to reprise the character for any cartoon show and video game, such as Hercules or Kingdom Hearts, he has agreed to do so. When this film was about to go over budget, he offered to refund his salary and finish the film for free. Disney decided against this, and finished the film anyway. 2. Hades was scripted as a slow, menacing character, until James Woods took the role and impressed the crew with his rapid-fire style. Even after the script was rewritten, Woods ad-libbed many lines. 3. James Woods ate a watermelon while recording to make the slurping sounds more authentic in the scene where Hades is eating worms. 4. When Hercules and Phil first meet, Phil says 2 words, "I am retired," much to the confusion of Hercules. However, in Greek, "I am retired" translates as "amai syntaxiouchos," which is actually only 2 words. 5. The film was released due to backlash against the previous 2 Disney releases of Pocahontas and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, with the major criticisms of the 2 films were that they were too dark and dealt with serious issues that Disney shouldn't be addressing in their animated films. Hercules was released to lighten things up. Did you know that for Hook, Robin Williams became best friends with director Steven Spielberg while making this movie? Reportedly, after Williams' death, Spielberg decided to watch this movie out of remembrance but couldn't finish it because he couldn't stop crying for several hours. 2. The kissing couple on the bridge who begin to float when some fairy dust lands on them as Tinkerbell takes the unconscious Peter back to Neverland were George Lucas and Carrie Fisher in a cameo. 3. Steven Spielberg admitted to being disappointed with the final result of the movie. He had such a hard time working with the rebellious crew of young actors that he later said, only somewhat kiddingly, that the experience made him wonder if he wanted to have any more kids. He also felt guilty that he wasn't able to find an economical method to filming the many complex human flight sequences in this movie. However, after Robin Williams' death, Spielberg says he is now thankful he made this movie, as that was how he met Williams and became good friends with him. 4. According to Phil Collins in an interview, Dustin Hoffman was so meticulous that he was present 2 months before he was actually required to film his scenes, simply so that he could get immersed in the role. Did you know that for Big Daddy, although many children auditioned for the role of Julian, both Adam Sandler and director Dennis Dugan chose Cole and Dylan Sprouse to play the singular role because they were already somewhat known for having appeared in Grace Under Fire, which was canceled shortly before production began, and they felt they had the best chemistry with Sandler. 2. Jon Stewart was originally not wanted by the studio for the role of Kevin Garrity, as he had limited movie acting experience. The studio wanted either Ben Stiller or Owen Wilson originally, but both were committed to other films. Sandler and director Dennis Dugan had to strongly convince the studio to let Stewart have the part. 3. Dylan and Cole Sprouse were living in a hotel during production. This helped inspire the premise of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, based off of their experiences living in a hotel for 4 months during the filming. 4. Pete Davidson shared on Instagram that his mom took him to the Big Daddy audition when he was 5 years old, meaning he was more than likely auditioning for the part of Julian. 5. Adam Sandler based the character of Sonny off of his dad, who would try to make Adam laugh to get through tough situations as a kid. Did you know that for Napoleon Dynamite, John Heder was paid $1,000 to play Napoleon Dynamite over the film's 22-day shooting schedule? The movie grossed over $40 million in the United States. 2. The movie was edited in producer Jeremy Kuhn's apartment using a $6,000 Macintosh with Final Cut Pro. 3. Made on a budget of just $400,000, the film went on to gross in excess of $46 million. Fox Searchlight spent $3 million in promoting the film. 4. The opening title sequence was partially reshot due to some of the executives at Fox Searchlight not liking the look of the actors' hands who placed the food into the shot. They flew out a hand model to reshoot some of the shots with the director. 5. Idaho unanimously passed a bill praising Jared Hess and Jerusha Hess for making the film, citing amongst their reasons that the Preston High School administration and staff, particularly the cafeteria staff, have enjoyed notoriety and worldwide attention. Tater tots, figuring prominently in the film, had promoted Idaho's most famous export. 6. John Heater's big dance scene at the end was the last scene scheduled, but film ran out while shooting it. The sequence was edited together from less than 10 minutes of his dancing. Did you know that for Taxi Driver, Robert De Niro has said that despite having won an Oscar for The Godfather Part 2, he was still a relatively unfamiliar face and was only recognized once while driving a New York cab during his research for this film, who was a struggling actor himself. The young actor said to De Niro discouragingly, "Wait a minute, you just won an Oscar. My God, is it that hard to get work?" 2. Robert De Niro worked 15-hour days for a month driving cabs as preparation for this role. He also studied mental illness, and during his off time when filming 1900, visited a U.S. Army base in northern Italy and tape-recorded conversations with Midwestern soldiers so that he could pick up their accent. 3. When Paul Schrader was first writing the script, he believed that he was just writing about loneliness, but as the process went on, he realized he was writing about the pathology of loneliness. His theory being that for some reason some young men such as Schrader himself subconsciously push others away to maintain their isolation, even though the main source of their torment is this very isolation. 4. Steven Spielberg visited the music recording sessions of this movie to tell composer Bernard Herrmann how much he admired his work. The prickly Herrmann responded, "Oh yeah? Then why do you always use John Williams for your films?" Did you know that for Barbie, Margot Robbie revealed that she found an old bucket list with one of the goals being meet Ryan Gosling while working on this movie? 2. When director Greta Gerwig took on the film, she insisted on certain bonding experiences, including cast slumber parties and movie church. All of the Barbies were invited to stay the night at a London hotel, and the Kens were allowed to stop by but not stay. Ryan Gosling apparently couldn't make it, but didn't want his absence to go unnoticed. In his place, he sent a singing telegram in the form of a Scotsman dressed in a kilt, playing the bagpipes and reciting lines from Braveheart. 3. Margot Robbie cracked up laughing at Ryan Gosling's performance so often during their scenes together that she and Greta Gerwig had to work out a system in which she would try and hold a smile on her face for just long enough to cut before breaking character. 4. Ryan Gosling improvised the Sublime line, as well as the shot where he is wearing 2 sunglasses. 5. Margot Robbie wore 18 wigs and 30 hairpieces throughout the film. On average, each wig cost production $40,000. Did you know that for Toy Story 4, when Bo Peep gets taken away, the car driven by the new owner has the license plate RMRF 97? It's a sort of meta Toy Story 2 reference. It's an often repeated story that the second Toy Story film was nearly entirely lost when the main file was accidentally deleted from the main Pixar servers. This license plate references the computer command which nearly erased the movie. Thankfully, a pregnant employee had a backup copy of the film on her home computer, which had to be gently driven to Pixar HQ in order to save the movie. 2. Among the myriad items on shelves at the antique shop, Bing Bong's rocket from Inside Out and Ellie and Carl's house from Up can be seen. 3. In the first film, after Buzz shows off what he can do, Bo declares, "I found my moving buddy." Here, when the two reunite, Bo affectionately refers to Buzz as her moving buddy. 4. Duke Kaboom, the Canadian stuntman toy, first appeared in Jack Jack's Crib in Incredibles 2. 5. Tom Hanks revealed voicing the latest and perhaps last Toy Story film was especially emotionally exhausting, saying, "It was terrible. I started recording Woody in 1991, and each film takes about 4 years. It was my very last session, and when I said the last line just like that, 24 years was over. I got in my car and drove away with the music playing and the credits rolling in my head.